move.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Mask of the Slasher. We are on episode 41.
Woo!
I finally looked it up.
Oh.
Yeah, I was like, we should look this up. We should know where we're at. Last week, we did an episode on the new movie LongLegs. And like I say in the video, I didn't go and look up a bunch of stuff. I didn't do anything. I didn't look at people's comments, nothing before we saw the movie.
Right.
This time around, I decided to look at stuff after the fact and just see, because I love reading dumb comments.
Well, there's lots of them out there, let me tell you.
There is. One of the only intelligent one I really saw was somebody comparing it to Silence of the Lambs. Mm-hmm. Now.
Alex said that also.
Oh, he did?
Yeah. So
Hi,
shout out to Alex.
Hi. So I was like, I never thought of it. I didn't put the two together because I don't really like doing that if I don't have to, because it kind of ruins it for me.
Oh, okay. Why does it ruin it for you?
I think it's just the fact that I want it to be its own thing.
Oh, okay.
And I don't want it to be like some biter just making another movie.
Okay.
So it was just like, I don't really want it to be that way. But then I looked at everything and I watched the movie again for the 400th time at least. I've seen Silence of the Lambs. It has to be in the 30s. Somewhere in the 30s in my life. I don't know. It's a comfort movie for me. Sick, I know. I understand. I own a lot of crap that pertains to the movie. I did a cross stitch for it. It's a thing. I like the movie. It's a good one. I appreciate it when Josh does his impression of Buffalo Bill. Go for it.
Put the fucking lotion in the basket.
He went a little Larry David on that one. But, it just...
It's the best I can do. I saw it in the theater. Shout out to the cool moms out there.
Yeah.
Especially mine.
I didn't. Anyway...
My mom, I'm sure, had read the books, so he was a voracious reader, that one.
Voracious?
Yes.
Great word. Word of the day, voracious.
Yeah,
Here it is. Okay, so the comparisons, right?
Yes.
By the way, if you haven't seen Silence of the Lambs, I'm sorry, but go watch it.
Yeah.
But there's going to be spoilers for LongLegs in this as well, so if you didn't watch the last video because of spoilers, don't watch this one either.
Maybe watch both movies and then come back to these videos.
Yeah, because you'll see what we're talking about. I would imagine LongLegs won't be in the theater for more than another week or so.
Probably.
So by the time this comes out, it may or may not be in the theater still.
It's doing quite well, though, so who knows?
Yeah. Deadpool, though, I'm assuming is taking at least 12 screens.
Deadpool is going to bulldoze the box office here.
It is.
Which I'm excited to see, but, I like small movies, too.
Little
tiny movies like this big. Just little baby.
So Silence of the Lambs and LongLegs. Okay, here we go.
Silence of the long legs. Silence of the legs.
Stupid.
There's your title right there.
Yeah.
Silence of the legs.
One man seeks out every last pair of corduroy pants as he is searching for the silence of the legs.
Stop. Can't see anything. Okay, so Silence of the Lambs, by the way, came out in 1991. And if you obviously don't know, once again, Anthony Hopkins and Jodie Foster are the stars of this movie. Yeah. But Chris Isaac makes a little cameo in it.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, because he was playing Wicked Games. In both movies, you have a young female lead. One in LongLegs is she's already in the FBI, but she's pretty new to it.
Rookie.
Yeah, she's the Rooks.
Yeah.
The Rooksters.
Rooksters.
Yeah. And then in Silence of the Lambs, she's in training to be an FBI agent, and but she's pretty damn close to graduating from what it appears. They don't really say it.
Yeah, but at the end, right? They're graduated by the end of the movie, right?
Exactly, but what if they were like, man, you did a lot of extra credit getting the serial killer. I'm going to get you this sweet cake.
Yeah.
And you can graduate early. You never know,
What if that's a thing? Like, they capture somebody, do they get a cake?
It's They should.
The capture cake.
The capture cake. Congratulations on getting that serial killer. Here's a fucking cake.
Red velvet.
Yeah. There's a bleeding armadillo.
Cream cheese frosting.
Because they are females, there is a lot of male intimidation.
Right. A lot of sexism.
Yeah. Jodie Foster is very tiny, and it's very apparent when she goes into the elevator in the beginning of this. It's kind of cute, really. She's just a little tiny Jodie Foster.
Yeah.
And then in LongLegs, she's not physically small, but she's very meek.
Yeah.
She's quiet and to herself and very awkward. So it's kind of the same idea, you know, and I think it also has to be the fact that because she was a noob, you know, it was like, let me just hang out right here and just observe, which is smart, obviously. Both movies, they are going after a serial killer. In LongLegs, it's obviously LongLegs, that's the name of the movie. And he is not the actual physical serial killer, but nevertheless, he's the instrument.
Yeah, he's manipulating everything.
Yeah. So, and he's funny looking.
Yeah.
But anyway, and then in Silence of the Lambs, he's obviously the serial killer for reals.
Buffalo Bill. Yeah.
Yes. And he is skinning women so he can make a bodysuit.
Yep.
Yay him.
Yeah.
Yeah. But like you pointed out, you know, LongLegs, he was a Satanist. That was his whole plan.
Right.
Just sacrificing to Satan.
Yep.
Moron. Anyway, so both movies are small towns, very rural, also very claustrophobic.
Yeah.
They both feel like they're stuck in another time. Jodie Foster's character, she lost her father when she was like an early teen.
Right.
And then she had to go live with family on a farm. In LongLegs, Agent Harker, she doesn't have a father in this.
Yeah, they never
discuss it. But I would imagine it was a hit and run, a one and done kind of situation. Both LongLegs and Buffalo Bill are considered androgynous, and with both of, Buffalo Bill, he's a little bit more masculine, but he's fighting obviously to transition in a very gruesome manner.
Yeah.
LongLegs, it's just you don't know.
Yeah.
You don't know what's going on there. And I think that made it a little scarier because there was more backstory we're missing.
Yeah, he's kind of got like an evil Tiny Tim vibe to me. You know what I mean? That's what he reminds me of.
I'm glad they didn't do tiptoe through the tulips though during that. Yeah. Both Starling and Harker, they're the ones that solve the cases. And it's not anticipated, you know. And I really don't even know why Starling was picked, aside from the fact that she was top of the class and that she said she wanted to go into behavioral science, you know, after she graduated. But nevertheless, of course, that's what's great about it, is that they did make it through that. And so all of the sexist bullshit that they had to put up with, it was like, haha, why don't you just suck it, you know? So I thought that was pretty cool, you know?
Yeah, and I think, you know, with Starling, you know, I believe at the beginning it was kind of just so maybe Lecter would have his guard down and be willing to talk if they sent this girl in there, you know, instead of, you know, somebody he's familiar with or somebody that helped catch him, you know what I mean? So
exactly. Well, and because she's a noob and he finds that out pretty quickly. Yeah. Some people anticipate that it's because she is a female and, oh, well, he hasn't, you know, gotten laid for years or whatever. But he doesn't even care.
Yeah, exactly.
That's not how he gets off. It's not her, for sure.
Right.
But it is Miggs.
Yeah.
A little sploogey splooge on that one. Ugh, so gross. Every time I watch it, I'm like, ooh. I think the comparisons are actually fairly strong. But I think that if you had... I still didn't... It wasn't that obvious to me, which I thought was great. Yeah. I didn't have to fight to be like, oh, no, that's not it, or this is it. Or
well, yeah, and that was the good thing about it, is they took a similar scenario, and then they took it in a completely different direction than what Silence of the Lambs is. Yeah. So, I mean, yes, the similarities are there on the surface, but once you start to go deeper into it, it totally forks off into a different direction, which I thought was great, because, I mean, you know, there's many movies about, FBI agents tracking a serial killer, trying to solve this, whatever, but they took it in a really unusual direction in LongLegs, and something I'd never seen before, certainly. So, it's fine. I think it's fine to use a similar jumping off point. I mean, there's tons of art and films and music out there that does that.
Yeah.
As long as you're jumping off from that point and then making it your own, I think that's fine to do. You know?
The only other thing I saw that was a kind of similar was the fact that there was a psych ward involved in it, and it was one of the girls who had been abducted by LongLegs at one point. And then you have, of course, Hannibal Lecter, who's also in the loony bin.
Yes.
Yeah. So, and they're both able to guide the agents one way or the other, which I thought was interesting too. But she wasn't used as much in LongLegs, the girl that was in the
Right. She's only in the one scene.
Yeah.
Right?
Like you said, they did a good job just separating the two and having their own unique stories.
Yeah.
So, which is nice.
Yeah, I definitely think LongLegs stands on its own. They're definitely, you can compare the two for sure. And Silence of the Lambs is just an iconic movie, so it's kind of hard to escape from. And I know the word iconic gets overused so much, especially nowadays, but it really is.
The other thing I would imagine is that the people that were bored watching LongLegs probably are bored watching Silence of the Lambs. The only excitement they're going to get out of it is the fact of it being iconic.
Right.
But they're both, slow-paced thinkers. They're neither one of them are you getting your, thrills and chills super fast and in your face.
Yeah, it's definitely both have that kind of similar unraveling story, and in LongLegs you've got his letters that are in code. In Silence of the Lambs, Lecter is always using anagrams that they have to try and figure out to decipher what they mean and where that's going to take them as far as trying to figure out who Buffalo Bill is and things of that nature.
Yeah.
So.
Which is still very in line with serial killery stuff. That's a real word. Serial killery.
Technical term.
Yep. So, but I'm just going to move on to Silence of the Lambs on itself now that we've done that comparison. On the Blu-ray, there is, of course, extras as always, and one of them in particular is talking to psychologists and behavioral health specialists, that kind of thing. And so they're talking about the comparisons with real serial serial killers.
Okay.
And we know that part of it is Ed Gein.
Right, of course.
That's the body suit because he did all that gross stuff.
Right.
The other part is Ted Bundy.
Okay.
He used to lure women in with him having a cast or something like that, which is what Buffalo Bill does when he's at his van.
Right.
Don't get into a van.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
never get into a strange van.
No. And don't wear button-up shirts that have fruit all over them either. Neither one of those things are good. But there's also a serial killer that I surprisingly haven't heard of. His name is Gary Heidnik, and I guess he was the inspiration for putting the girl into the pit.
Okay.
And so I'm going to have to look all that up because that sounds very interesting.
Yeah, the name's super familiar. Like, I feel like back in my serial killer phase, I read about, when I read about tons of books and stuff, I feel like he was brought up. And I also feel like maybe Macabre has a song about him, but I'm not sure.
Well, not surprising at all. Not surprising. I've only watched Red Dragon and Hannibal one time.
Well, yeah.
Because they're not very good in my opinion. Yeah. What are your thoughts on them, though?
Red Dragon's okay, but I think Manhunter, which is the original movie version of that book, is far superior in my opinion. It's just, in my opinion, there are some parts that seem cheesy now today, and outdated, but I think it still holds up as a really well-made film overall. Hannibal I've read all 3 books, and Hannibal was a trash book, and it's a trash movie. I'm sorry. I don't know what happens. I don't know.
I think Silence of the Lambs is probably the winner in all of that, but you really like Manhunter. We will cover it.
Oh, yeah.
It hasn't aged well, but we will cover it, because Josh has a big boner for it. With both of these movies, the special effects as far as practical, and makeup and that kind of thing, both of them are amazing.
Oh, yeah.
LongLegs, he doesn't look like Nicolas Cage.
Right.
Except for the eyes.
Yeah.
And then when Hannibal Lecter does what he does to people, I think when I first saw this, it was so long ago. And to see after he, breaks out of that weird ass cell.
Yeah.
And the guy's just all flayed out. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That was bananas. I had to pause it.
Yeah.
Just to see it because I was
bananas.
like, that's just gross, but it's so cool.
Yeah.
I think it was very shocking to see some of the things in that movie.
Oh God, so much shocking stuff, especially when you're younger. And I think that's one of the great things about Anthony Hopkins' performance in that movie is that he's just this very civilized, very collected individual, and then when he goes into I'm gonna kill somebody mode, just total fucking savage.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just total beast mode.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because when she walks up to his cell first, it's not what you would expect. That's the whole thing, is that you're panning past, all these freaking weirdos.
Yeah.
And then there's him, nice and clean, and which is crazy in itself. He probably has a little OCD.
Yeah.
In there.
Oh, for sure.
I like the practical stuff a lot better. Yeah. I think there's more heart put into it and thought.
And it always looks 10 times better, because even today there's so much CGI. Even, as much as advancement as we've had with technology, there's still so much CGI out there that looks totally unconvincing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
yeah.
It's like you got to be in that mood for a movie that
is CGI
fest, Yeah, exactly.
Like I had mentioned at the beginning of this, there was a lot of male intimidation in this. This is a theme that we keep seeing through these movies that we've been watching recently.
Yeah.
With Rosemary's Baby,
yep.
She was just kept being told, it's fine, everything's cool.
Right.
LongLegs, she's just the new girl.
Yeah, exactly.
And, just stay in the car while I go take care of my man business here,
Right.
Always going to be a theme, because it never has stopped, unfortunately.
Right.
It goes on to this very day, being accused of sleeping your way to the top and things like that.
Right.
And it's disappointing maybe that's why I like Silence of the Lambs so much. I think the fact that she was just like, yeah, fuck you.
Well, yeah, exactly.
I can do this. And she ended up doing the scariest part of all of it, while they're over there with their box of fake flowers, at the wrong house.
Right, exactly.
So, I think it's a theme that's never going to disappear, which is a real bummer.
Yeah.
But it does make women feel a little bit more empowered when they do come out on top.
Right, right.
So, in that sense, I'm like, okay, cool.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But the movie that we're going to do next week, that's going to be like the epitome of it.
Oh, yeah.
And so you'll have to, tune in next week.
That's right.
Because it's going to be good. But it's unfortunately just the theme. It even went back to autopsy.
Right.
I think that's really where we started that theme, and it wasn't intentional.
Mm-mm.
It just happened to be.
Pick.
Yeah.
By the way, go watch that autopsy video.
Yeah. Haters.
Seriously.
It's a classic, man. It was in a box set, so therefore it's a classic. The whole last girl thing. It's amazing, isn't it? That has continued on, that you would never anticipate the weak woman to make it to the end. Yeah. And she ultimately is the one that always
I honestly think, horror, as much as it gets talked about as being, sexist or misogynistic or, glorifies violence against women, I honestly think that horror is one of the, and suspense movies and things of that nature, thrillers, whatever you want to call it, is one of the best places to find strong female characters, because you've got your agents, you've got your Agent Starling, you've got your Ellen Ripley's, I think there's tons of badass women in horror and thriller movies, and I think that's great,
It is. It's just amazing, though, that it has to be put out there in a movie to make it happen, as opposed to this just should be the way.
Right.
Not that women should be stronger than men or anything like that, just equals.
Yeah.
Just seen as equals. That's all. That's all we ask.
Yeah.
We're all the same folks.
Yes.
And some of us are smarter than others. So anyway, let me know what you think. I'm really curious.
Yeah.
Because, like I said, it wasn't apparent to me. Alex is an incredibly smart man. So,
he is. Shout out to Alex.
Yeah, he sees his shit. He knows.
Yeah. Oh
yeah. If he didn't live so far from us, we'd have him on the show.
Exactly.
But anyway, yeah. I think that's it for this episode.
Yeah, so don't forget to like and subscribe, as the kids say, because we appreciate your support. You got nothing to lose by doing it. It's completely free, and it helps us
know some shit.
Go to war with that algorithm, damn it.
Yeah, because that algorithm is a dick. Mm-hmm. And it shows by the autopsy video that it really just shits on your parade.
It does. It's a real parade pisser.
Yeah, and we talked about it because we've been on a binge watch of Try Guys. I don't know. If you've never seen the Try Guys, I'll put the link in our description.
Yeah.
But shout out to the Try Guys. But they discuss the inner workings of having a YouTube channel and the algorithm that they have to fight with, and the stupid thumbnails that they have to put up that they don't want to put up.
Right.
Just to get people's attention.
Right.
So look past those thumbnails. Except for when I work incredibly hard on them. But yeah, look past all that stuff and just give the video a try. Because you never know what you're going to find in there.
That's right.
Yeah, you don't always have to have somebody's stupid face on it. Going, I don't know what's going to happen next. Oh, God. So, anyway, we'll see you next week. Bye.